Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
I'm not camping outside a store for Black Friday or any Friday.
We're with Kat. That's why our Ace Black Friday sale lasts all day. Just print out our online coupon, bring it in, and save 50% on an item under $30.
Ace is the place with Black Friday offers all day. Go ahead and sleep in.
Print out our coupon at acehardware.com and stop by Ace this Friday for 50% off one regular priced item under $30. Offer valid on November 25th only at participating stores. Limit 1. Exclusions apply. See coupon.
President Obama, my name is Danny Williams. I am the son of former President Bill Clinton. I'm reaching out to you today because I know you can understand. You also grew up without a father. I also went to the National Press Club in Washington, where I appealed to Miss Monica Lewinsky, hoping that she would provide a sample from her famous blue dress. Sadly, I have heard nothing back.
Damn. Well, there he is, Bill Clinton's illegitimate son, at least allegedly, Danny Williams, as we start off hour number 2 of the Bernie and Sid show right here on 77 WABC. Had a great first hour. Talked to John Roberts.
By the way, why isn't Bill Clinton providing the DNA? He could just disprove it in a flash.
He's not going to waste it. Stop it. He's not going to waste it.
That kid is every bit as credible as any one of the 15th women who came out with these 11th hour allegations against Donald Trump.
Okay, but Donald Trump,
because he's black?
Yes. Donald Trump's not providing any bodily fluids to prove that he's innocent.
No, there's nothing to prove there.
Well, there's nothing to prove here either.
You could easily disprove this kid's allegations. Who looks uncannily like
they have been
the
disproven.
former president.
They have been disproven, but we keep going because it's funny.
You know, we have a guest on the line right now.
You want Mike Emanuel to disprove it? He'll
we
do
have
it.
A great Fox News correspondent and a local guy. He's from New Jersey and a really good guy. Mike Emanuel, Fox News. He's traveling with the Hillary campaign.
Yes,
Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, gentlemen. Great to be with you. An honor and a privilege. Good morning from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where Hillary Clinton is making her first election eve stop ahead of the big day tomorrow.
Well, tell her not to do what Donald Trump did a couple of weeks ago in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. If she really wants a woman vote, don't go out there and talk about how great it is to play golf with Ben Roethlisberger.
or to get back on stage with a guy like Jay-Z who calls women the B word and the H word and all that stuff and drops the F-bomb. Either one of the two. If you pass along that advice from us, Mike, we'd appreciate it.
All right. I'm sure they'll listen. And by the way, as a guy from the Garden State, I feel obligated to mention that 2 Jersey boys are going to be on stage with her tonight, Springsteen and Bon Jovi, at the event in Philadelphia with President Obama and the First Lady. So really trying to pull out all the stops here in Pennsylvania to make sure a state that has not voted for a Republican for president since 1988, George Herbert Walker Bush, they're trying to make sure it stays in the Democratic column, part of that so-called blue wall of states that Democrats, can typically count on.
But it's not just Pennsylvania, Mike Emanuel, we're talking about here with Springsteen and Bon Jovi tonight. They're kind of pulling out all the stops all weekend long. Going back to what Bernard is talking about, Jay-Z, Beyonce, Katy Perry, LeBron James in Cleveland introducing Hillary Clinton. Are they doing that to reinforce what they think is a decent lead? Or, in fact, do you think you're around them, the Clintons are nervous?
That's a brilliant question. And what I would say is, one, I think she has really struggled with young voters. And so you've seen her trying to get, Bernie Sanders out to try and help her because he was popular with young voters. And I think, the Jay-Z's of the world, the Beyoncé's of the world, not only appeal to an African-American audience, but appeal to a young voter audience. And so that has been an area of struggle. And I think there's a big concern in the Clinton campaign that if younger voters don't turn out in the models that they are hoping for, this could flip the race upside down tomorrow. And so there was some talk that she's trailing pretty substantially in Iowa. We'll see how it plays out tomorrow. But part of the thought of that was that young voters were going to stay home. And so I think some of the celebrity stuff is about trying to get those young voters, in the case of LeBron and Beyonce and Jay-Z, trying to get the young African-American voters to turn out, similar to the way they did for President Obama. He's certainly trying his heart out. He's going to the University of Michigan today in what should be a friendly Democratic state to try to get those young voters as well. And so it's been elusive for Hillary so far. What is not clear to me is whether these people can pass their personal popularity onto her.
Yeah, that's the question. A lot of the analysts I have seen over the weekend said that really doesn't work. But, for example, you had Bon Jovi campaign for John Kerry, specifically in Ohio in 2004. Not only did Kerry lose the election, he lost big in Ohio in 2004. So what you just said, your last comment may be insightful. But I would also ask you, Mike Emanuel from Fox News, is it not also an effort to counter the disenfranchised voters that she lost, the blue-collar workers in the Rust Belt, the coal miners, et cetera, et cetera. In Ohio and Michigan, for example, Trump is going to win Ohio. It had been a battleground state. He's going to win. And now, as Sid pointed out, she's worried about Michigan. And all those people who appeal to Bernie Sanders who are not going to come out for her.
Well, yeah, I think there's legitimate concern on the Democratic side about Pennsylvania and Michigan. If you're wondering why I'm saying that, just look at her travel schedule. She's making 2 stops in Pennsylvania today, Pittsburgh, where I am, and then later in Philadelphia. She's going back to Michigan. Her husband went to Michigan yesterday. She was in Michigan on Friday. President Obama is going to the University of Michigan. If they thought that they were going to blow out Trump in these typically blue Democratic states, they could go elsewhere today. But she's making 2 stops in Pennsylvania, 1 in Michigan, and she's sending in the Army basically into Michigan as well and really pulling out all the stops here in Pennsylvania. So that suggests to me that there is at least some concern about whether the white working class voters all go for Donald Trump and whether young voters stay home. Do they have a problem on their hands on these states that have been automatic Democratic states since 1988?
See, but the verbiage matters because, for example, Trump supporters go, she's nervous, she's scared, she's panicking. And you just said concern, which is the word, ironically, I used with Bernard in the first hour, Mike. Of course she's concerned. These are not blowouts in any of these states. And I don't believe the election is going to be a blowout, but she is winning. Now, that doesn't mean she's going to win, but she is winning. So if we're going to articulate it correctly the day before, it's concern, not panic.
Yeah, I think that, here's a plug. The latest Fox News poll out just an hour ago has Clinton up 4 nationally. So if that holds true, then, she should win tomorrow night. But this whole Trump phenomenon has been flipping the whole political, establishment upside down. And a lot of the traditional formulas have been off base.
But Mike, is it the whole Trump phenomenon? Because, and again, I'm endorsing Hillary, so I may be a bit biased. He hasn't done anything for months. He really hasn't. It's almost like he's waiting for another email to drop. He has not articulated any of his issues any better the last 60 or 90 days. In fact, he's been worse in the debates. It seems like it's less of a Trump phenomenon and more of a, here comes Jim Comey, here comes another email scandal. More of her scandals than the Trump phenomenon. What do you think about that?
Well, Sid, you make some interesting points there.
Not good ones, though.
Excellent ones.
Well,
Thank you.
We'll see how they all play out tomorrow night. But I think to a certain degree, Trump has been more disciplined in the past couple of weeks. He's been sticking to what his advisors want him to talk about. They've kept him off Twitter, which is probably a good move ahead of Election Day. And so he's been more disciplined in drilling home a lot of his key points. Look, I think there's a certain segment of the population, and traveling outside of Washington, D.C., you see a lot of parts of the country where the economy is just not moving. There's not much happening. And I think there are a lot of people who are just sick of the status quo in this election who say, we've seen her for 30 years. We know her. We respect her experience. But we just got to change. It's not working for us. We don't have hope. Our salaries are not going up in the middle class. And so, we'll see how that plays out. Trump has talked about this will be Brexit times 10, that vote in the United Kingdom. We'll see. If a bunch of people come out of the woodwork who have not been answering the phone calls from pollsters and suddenly vote Trump, well, that could flip everything upside down. I'm not predicting it. I don't do predictions. I'm just, covering the news. But, we'll see how it works.
Mike Emanuel from Fox News on the Bernie and Sid show. Has Hillary been talking about the latest weird Jim Comey flip-flop, the FBI director? And I ask you that question because last hour we had your colleague on, John Roberts, who said that even this latest announcement actually may redound to Trump's benefit in that it allows him to say again, the system is rigged. Has she been talking about it? And what has she been saying?
Well, the fascinating thing is she has not said one word about it.
Maybe John's right.
0. So perhaps she thinks if I mention emails, If I mention FBI, it just drags me down. It reminds people of the controversies around me. Her communications director, Jen Palmieri, came out and expressed relief, basically saying, we're glad that they found this and we're ready to move on and that sort of thing. She was eager to turn the page, as you can imagine. But Hillary Clinton herself has not mentioned it at all. And
wow.
Well, why would she? Why would she? She, like you said, it's
she
over.
Was cleared. She was cleared. That's why.
Right.
You would think that she would mention it.
No, it's a negative story to begin with. Whether you're cleared or not, you'd rather the thing go away than remind people that there was an investigation. It makes total sense.
Interesting.
But she was cleared. Say it again so I can hear you say it again, Bernard.
She was cleared.
She was right. Cleared.
Hey, Mike Emanuel, listen. She's making 2 stops today. Now, the rap on her from Trump is that she's low energy. She doesn't have the stamina. He made 5 stops yesterday. I think Saturday as well. 5 more stops today. She's only making 2 stops. Is there a stamina issue, and why isn't she making more stops?
That's a great question, and I think, to be fair, he's the guy who's trailing right now, if you listen to the polls.
Right.
So he's trying to push as many buttons as he can to see where he can, find some magic. He's going to Minnesota. A lot of people think that's crazy that Minnesota hasn't gone Republican in ages, but he's trying to do anything he can to tap a little magic before Election Day, and also to say, tomorrow night or Wednesday morning, if it doesn't go his way, to say, you know what, I did everything I possibly could. Mm-hmm. Her position is she's trying to hold together, the traditional Democratic states today, and so she's going 2 stops in Pennsylvania, 1 in Michigan, and then a late-night rally in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Typical Democrat. She's lazy.
Well, she's winning. No, she's not lazy.
I'm kidding.
No, I know you are. But, Mike, what Bernard is kidding. But what these people don't understand is they equate large turnout to Trump's rallies like he's got more voters. And what they don't get is that there is a little bit of, we're winning, we're going to be okay. And she's kind of boring anyway, to be honest with you. So I'm not going to go see her. Trump's rallies are loaded with people because I compare it to a hockey fan, Mike, in that there are less hockey fans than football fans, but hockey fans show up at 97% and they're rabid. That's the Trump supporters. They may be less than the Hillary fans, but they are out there and they're rabid and they want him to win, so they show up in bigger numbers.
Look, there's definitely energy on the Trump side in terms of he's tapped into something. When you compare Hillary Clinton to Barack Obama, who was the big candidate of 8 years ago, there's no comparison. I mean, he was a rock star on the campaign trail. He really drove the huge crowds. He had the big numbers. But as we've seen over the years, sometimes the huge crowds don't translate into election wins. I remember Mitt Romney 4 years ago had some big crowds and did not become President Romney. And so, we'll see. Everybody's always looking at this point for any signs of, the race shifting one way or the other. Obviously, we're down to Election Day tomorrow. We'll be doing, round-the-clock coverage through tomorrow night, and so we'll be looking for any movement. But at this point, it's kind of hard to say whether a huge crowd means you're going to win a certain place. If you're getting the huge crowds, obviously you want to celebrate that and show everybody, look, we're getting 10,000, 20,000 people, but I don't know for sure whether that's going to translate into a win because perhaps he's more exciting and unpredictable on the campaign trail, and perhaps she's the establishment candidate that people have known for 30 years.
And Mike Emanuel, my last question. Mike Emanuel from Fox News, traveling with the Hillary Clinton campaign in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania this morning. Mike, now that Comey has come out and he's, quote-unquote, cleared Hillary Clinton of any illegalities, has Huma Abedin been allowed back on the campaign plane or trail or anywhere near Hillary Clinton? Where's Huma?
She is not around.
What?
She's keeping a very low profile.
Are they keeping her down, do you think?
Oh, that's, it may be a reminder of the controversy, and so she has not been on the campaign plane since the news broke a week ago Friday.
That's smart.
In Iowa.
That's smart.
So she's been away. She headlined a fundraiser for Hillary Clinton with a bunch of supporters in D.C. last week, and other than that, we really have not seen her. The campaign says they still are fond of her. She's still like,
sure.
A trusted advisor. But
second daughter, I think Hillary described her as.
Yeah, she's off the trail for now.
So she's punished. Even my daughter. I punish my daughter once in a while, too, when she's being a bad girl. All right, last one. We're talking about minorities here, and that is going to be the thing that's going to get Hillary the win. We know that. She's crushing it with Latinos, and she was also counting on a huge African-American edge. But I keep hearing for days now that the turnout is not very good with African American voters right now. How bad is it? How upset about that are the Clintons, and do they think it's going to improve in the next day?
Well, that's clearly one of the reasons why they've had President Obama and the First Lady out, and they've done some events with Jay-Z and Beyonce and LeBron James, and they clearly are trying to energize that audience that has not been very excited about Hillary Clinton. And John Podesta, her campaign chairman, said that's not fair to compare her to the first African American president, that they're stimulating other audiences, they're getting more Latinos and that sort of thing. We'll see the numbers tomorrow night. I'm in Pennsylvania right now, which is a state that doesn't do early voting. So we don't have any sense of turnout here in Pennsylvania yet. We don't have any sense of turnout in Michigan, two places that they're both visiting these days. So, if the African-American vote stays home or just, doesn't turn out in big numbers, that could be a problem in some of these places. And so that's something they've been clearly worried about and clearly trying to address in the final hours. But again, I don't know if these VIP surrogates can hand off their popularity to Hillary Clinton. They're not on the ballot. She is.
Hey, Mike Emanuel, you're great.
Great job.
Will you be
Great.
at the Javits Center tomorrow night, just out of curiosity?
We'll be there.
Okay, Mike,
So,
go ahead.
I'll look forward to being there back in the Big Apple, Westfield, New Jersey, 07090.
Yeah.
Home, so excited about that.
I was actually at the Javits Center on Saturday. They had the expo for the New York City Marathon. So Danielle and I were there buying some things. What a great place. I may come tomorrow night and hang out with you, Mike. How about that?
That'd be great. Let's do it.
He doesn't mean it. Mike Emanuel, thanks very much for appearing on the Bernie and Sid Show. Good luck with the rest of the campaign, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow night on Fox News.
Thanks, gentlemen. Take
Thanks,
care.
Mike.
Thank you. Back on the Bernie and Sid Show. Listen, this is Election Eve, folks. We're going to take your phone calls. 1-800-848-9222. We had some great callers earlier, made some insightful points that nobody ever thought of. 1-800-848-WABC. Bernie and Sid back after this.
77 WABC. Traffic and Transit.
In Newark.